So, returning to waffling on about things in a second, one life run for November, Exoddus 2021, in case I'm still doing these things in 5 years, who knows. So it's, hello, Aulia, jump up, follow me, fart. Okay. Back into the thick of it. The usual warm-up, not using the analog sticks. Would prefer not to use the analog sticks, if at all possible. So we'll see how we do. And through. Good. Good. Ah, it was risky. I need to fight the compulsion to do that. Because Necrum Mines is again a place where a lot of my escapees come from. So it would do me better to pace myself. Yep. Okay, what are we doing here? There we go. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. We're at 12. Nearly through the grace period. No. Oh! Thank you, Silver. Guess who left the desktop audio muted? I thought. Okay, it's a good thing. It's a good thing I have an audience, because otherwise that would have been very awkward. Thank you, Silver. Much appreciated. That should now be fixed. It's going to boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. All good, fantastic, wonderful. I got very nervous there. I'm going, oh, have I forgotten to click another thing? Is another thing not doing the thing that that thing should be doing? When you do that thing that you're not supposed to do, like keep the dang game still muted. Always a good time. But yeah, I think my biggest problem has been, even when I'm getting very familiar with this game, I still have a bad habit of rushing a little bit, because I feel the end of something getting closer, and then I feel a compulsion to just try and cut down time. And it's one thing to find a more efficient way of doing these earlier sections, but it's another thing entirely to try and avoid a cycle of a scrap puzzle because I want to get it done quicker. Those kinds of things I cannot afford to be rushing, because those are the things that get me killed. Badoomph. Badoomph. So I'm hoping tonight, I can't make promises on how far I'll get, but the thing I'm going to be tackling everything with is a further degree of caution. not trying to do too much in a certain window of space. Because the more I try and get done in a smaller bracket, the more corners I cut. And the more corners I cut, the more risks I take. And the more risks I take, the more the run falls apart. Which can turn a fairly alright run into a lot of close calls. Also, feels really strange that we're now in November and I did absolutely nothing horror themed for Halloween whatsoever, which I'm not sure whether I attribute that to the fact that I'm in Australia, and quite frankly, I don't cosplay anywhere near as much as I used to, so Halloween is just much of a muchness. I'm not really missing out on it. But also the fact of it's kind of a little overblown to me, so I can't really get into it that much either. I'm just like, I don't get the hullabaloo. And if it's not Mr. Sax's hullabaloo, then why should I care? That was funnier in my head, but I'm just gonna roll with it. If it's not Mr. Sax's hullabaloo, then why should I care? Rayman puns. Ba ba beep ba beep ba ba beep ba beep ba ba beep ba beep ba ba. Indeed. One of these days I'll get some redeems and some sound effects set up. It's not as urgent a thing to sort out just yet, but I'm getting there. I mean, to be fair, OBS is still trying to work out whether I'm at 49 followers or 50, so when I know if that unlocks anything in terms of functionality for my channel, then we'll go from there. Chances are I'll probably just have a rim shot noise, an awkward spring noise, I don't know, maybe a Knuckles oh no, a couple of really obvious things. Based off some ideas that my friend, that guy Ange, does in his streams, I have something musically themed that I want to try and set up. But that's going to require me to play around with some audio settings first and make sure that I can get instrument recording and playing working again in my content. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what direction that's going to go in. It'll be something. But yeah, like, I feel so weird having gone all of October doing nothing for Halloween. It's like, but you play Oddworld, you deal with the spooky scary, it's your favorite game franchise. How have you not done a Halloween thing? Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily Halloween themed to me, it's just, you know, very dark. I mean, yeah, Oddworld still makes me flinch, because the level of suspense is high. But I feel like the biggest testament is what happened the last time I tried to do a Halloween project, which was BioShock, which I recorded in 2015 and then spent the next 4 years progressively editing it and steadily putting it up in the most inconsistent upload schedule I've ever had for any project I've ever done. Inversely compared to how it was when I started the channel and I uploaded half of my original Abe's Odyssey playthrough in the first week because I didn't understand the concept of, you know, stretching out content yet. It's all a learning experience. But yeah, so for any people in the 50 followers I have, or the last I checked 2,082 people I have following me on YouTube, if you ever, like, I apologize if anyone expected me to do anything Halloween themed. I am not going to be the next Marky Moo. I apologize if that breaks your internet hearts. And then the follower count drops to 38. No, it didn't actually. But could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? All the more reason why I wish I had some redeems and stuff set up so I could like put on a monotone filter and put on some rain and some really sad music in the background and something. And just be like, oh, I thought you all loved me, but I'm so sorry. I'll never be the next Monkey Moo. I won't. Booty no play Minecraft. I don't know. Point being, I'm just gonna keep doing my own flavor of weird. And honestly, if it's also a case of BioShock showed me that horror games are not my forte. Not only in the case of not content that I can put out in a way that really fits the channel, but also just this. I even found BioShock a little bit affronting. And I remember specifically when I was uploading that, people were like, but it's not really a horror game. And I'm like, well, then you know how vanilla I am. Well, not even that, it's just, you know how bad my horror threshold is. I don't play Amnesia, I don't play any of the FNAFs. In fact, the one time I did play FNAF, I played the demo of the first one, and I actually gave myself a panic attack. It's no good. I feel a great disturbance in the forest. As if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I feel something terrible has happened. I know. The universe is discovered. Mali does not play the horror games. But I mean, to be fair, we're also working towards oh no. We're working towards Munch's Odyssey and Soulstorm, and from what I have been told, albeit without spoilers, bless all the people who've been able to tell me it without spoilers, Soulstorm is very dark compared to a lot of the other Oddworld games, and even then, as the subject matter goes, it was always pretty dark. But even then, even Munch's Odyssey gets pretty dark at times, even though it's a completely different shift in terms of, you know, being 2D to 3D from Exoddus to Munch's Odyssey, and also just the way the game plays. But even then, it goes for a very dark tone while still being incredibly slapstick. So, I don't know, I feel like it's a good compromise in some ways. If Oddworld is the closest to horror you get out of me, then I don't know. I don't feel like you're losing anything necessarily. So be it! Indeed. Thank you. Bada bada boop bop boop. Like, I don't know if this is going to necessarily change in the future. I don't know. Maybe I'll come across an indie game that's really to my liking, that's incredibly dark and completely dwarfs anything else that I have Let's Played before, or even played in my own time. Who knows? I might come back to BioShock 2. I don't know. Honestly, given the size and scale, I'd be more likely to stream it, because it means I can still put the content out there. But if it turns out that it's not really to people's, you know, flavor, then who knows? Do I mean lighting or tone of the camera? I mean, as Mario, to be fair, Oddworld kind of is a bit of both, especially Abe's Odyssey. That's definitely dark and gritty. But when I say dark, I mean things like Amnesia, Five Nights at Freddy's, basically anything that Markiplier has Let's Played. With the exception of Power Wash Simulator. But yeah, just... I can easily do dark games, because I've been doing Jedi Fallen Order, and that's got a lot of dark subtext, but hasn't really been horror-themed. definitely pleased with the feels though. But it's horror genre direction, I mean. So like, I've done Bioshock. Maybe one day I'll like throw in some Resident Evil in there. But like one of the first 4 because, you know, I have a weak constitution. And I don't think I could handle 7. Watching friends play 7 has been terrifying for me. I don't think I could do it. And I'm afraid of the tall lady, so don't get me started on 8. But yeah. I have a game I've played a bit of that starts out light and nice, but then gets dark and disturbing. Is that Into the Woods? Because I do have that on my to play list. And I know that starts all cheerful, and then gets very dark. Oh, or is it? Oh, 12 minutes. Oh, 12 minutes. Yes. I've seen bits and pieces of 12 minutes, and it is, 12 minutes is super clever. I do like it. I do like it. I feel like 12 minutes is a little closer to the kind of direction that horror might show up on this channel. Like, I don't think I'm gonna break the mold with anything, you know, a la Doki Doki Literature Club going down the direction of... I'm not gonna be pulling any kind of mega Squid Game nonsense here. Among the Sleep... Oh, that's right, that was one of the free games that came out very recently. Right, now I'm gonna relearn the timing of where this is gonna put me. Play for a bit, but I put like 1/3 of the way. Fair enough. It does sort of... Oh, these slugs, they're so loud. It does kind of, throw off the... whatchamacallit. Throw you for a loop when you're trying to solve puzzles. A little bit like, don't push the button. You feel like you've clicked everything and then there's something very inauspicious hidden somewhere. Alright, okay. Slugs doing slug things. Slugs doing slug things. Maybe I should have let the game audio muted. Whew, that was closer. I mean, thankfully these headphones are a lot better than the earbuds I've been using, and they've actually got a volume knob on them, so worst case if it gets too loud, I can just play around with that a bit. But like... The system audio is currently sitting on 18, so it's very, very low as it is. So if this is too much for me, then... I don't know. Maybe it's a sign my hearing's going. Could be. Could be. I'm turning 30 in 3 months. What is this nonsense? Anyway. Moving away from, you know, dreading my own mortality. But yeah. I'm honestly okay with the idea of something closer to that being the furthest that a direction of horror shows up on my channel. Don't mention it. We don't talk about it. Exactly. The less we talk, the less we have to think about it. Whew. You know, it's not particularly warm or particularly cold, but I'm definitely feeling a little dehydrated, so... It's like, sections like this. I can feel myself being very tempted to rush it. But if I do, it'll bite me in the butt. And it's the temptation to rush in sections like this, which definitely makes me realize how much I've been rushing other parts. Especially when we get to Mudanchi, which is still the furthest I've been able to get. I'm still at a point where I've only died in Mudomo, I think, once at most. Yes, I've died in Mudomo once, and the time that I did die in Mudomo, it was because I walked off a ledge like a doofus and ended up killing Abe. Because I wasn't paying attention or something. Yes, that's right. It was at the Ghost Lock. I know where it was. But doing Soulstorm blind, even the idea of it does terrify me a little bit, because I already think about how much darker, new and tasty is compared to Exoddus. And Soulstorm is the same concept as Exoddus, but not holding back. So it's like, it's gonna be dark, it's gonna be terrifying. I've been advised to try and aim for the bad ending first. Or at least just cut my losses with casualties and not over-obsess over them until I'm going back for tidy up. Which, given certain areas of the mines look like they could have upwards of hundreds of Mudokons in it, then don't think that's going to be too difficult to make peace with early. But yeah. Two, one. Just gotta not rush. Need to not rush. Play safe, play smart. Oh boy. Watch the saw. Okay. And just wait for the saw to stop entirely. Because I know I keep feeling the temptation to go down there, but I feel like breaking that habit now is important for later. To remind myself to just settle the metal. And not of the death variety. But nope. Okay. Whack. Whack. Can I hit any of them before the slam door is down? Genuinely curious. If I throw up, will it? No? Okay, cool. Let's not try and cheese the system. Because now if I go up here and throw up, it'll blow up immediately. I stand corrected. There we go, that's what I was waiting for. Whack. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to risk that at all. 2, 1. Work, please. Okay. And I guess the other upside of just stopping and taking a drink is just to sort of ease myself into slowing down a little bit more. Whack. There. Because I think definitely, without a doubt, Exoddus is the game I'm becoming a little bit more psyched to get to the next section of. With Odyssey, I think it's just... The most important thing with Odyssey is to fight the temptation to 100% every time I play that game, because that's how I always play it. It's a hard habit to break. With Exoddus, I like the idea of pushing myself to really, really not die. Like, we'll get to disc 2 and I will probably just stop doing most secret passages because they're an unnecessary burden that is going to make life so much harder. Especially in Boneworks. Some of the secret passages in Boneworks are just awful. Some of them are okay, but some of them are just awful. That doesn't. There we go. Should have started from there then. Okay, 48. I have 5 rocks. Okay. Okay. 49. This is the point. This is the point where the game is reminding me, patience. Super important. And a boom boom. And I guess the other problem I've been having with New and Tasty is, and it's especially going to become a problem moving forward, is that because I'm no longer on a grid playing in that game, getting hit by saws in stupid ways is very easy to do. Even in the portions of Rupture Farms that I know I can do consistently, like, I think the October run was actually ended by the last secret passage of Rupture Farms, and normally I'm okay with that one. Good. I derailed myself. What was I saying? Oh yeah, New and Tasty. Game doesn't function on a grid anymore, means that puzzles are a lot harder. Especially going past saws, avoiding saws, all of that jazz. The timing is very different now, and you're dealing with teeny tiny increments rather than things perfectly being on a grid. Makes not getting clipped by a saw very difficult to do, and since so many secret passages have saws in them, the important thing in that run is just going to be get through the game. Because like it or not, I can avoid every unnecessary saw possible, and I will still probably end up struggling in the boardroom because of those dastardly saws right at the very end. And why are you spiking internet? Don't do that, that's scaring me. Don't do that, I'm not in the mood. Indeed, the saws. All 7 of them. But yeah, the boardroom, the saws in the boardroom. The thing I think that I am dreading the most in a one life run of New and Tasty is getting to the boardroom. That is the thing I am dreading the most. Because those swords are unavoidable and I have 2 minutes to do that section. I'm gonna be at the whim of the game. Alright, this should put me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. 58. Everybody? Everybody get up. It's time to Oddworld. We're gonna go into the next tunnel. It's Tunnel 6 now. Tunnel 6, we're gonna drive in the mine car. Come on. Come on in car. It's the mine car. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. Don't ever do that again. We're in a car. A mine of a car. I'll come up with something good later. Or I just won't because I know that this is a hopeless cause. I don't know. But yeah. I think the thing I'm really excited about though is I feel like I'm getting quite close to the end of Jedi Fallen Order. And oh, the stakes are building up. Even that game had some dark aspects in it, but they didn't terrify me. I think if anything, there was more just sort of psychological and emotional sort of heartbreak with certain characters, which, you know, Star Wars is renowned for doing all of the time. Abe is back, alright. Dude. Oh my god, we're back again. Creeping past legs as we're getting scanned. Gonna creep real slowly, let me show you how. Creep real slowly, show you how. We can't afford to die. Jump in the minecart now. Song ain't original, yeah. It is a parody one, yeah. I'm insufferable. No, I'm not insufferable. I'm just a little curious. A little curious if I can make this work. To be fair, I'm still amazed my sister and I were able to come up with a bizarre parody of Hey Jude in the Exoddus playthrough. A la, hey Fleech, don't eat my face, as I don't taste all that good. Remember to not eat all of my face, because I don't taste like a oops now. I wanna do that, and then a deep that. Nope! Remember to not eat all of my face.
Come on, okay.
See, situations like that, I know I've got a bit of a window to fiddle fart around, but it's when we enter the nonsense realm of please slow down that we've got to really sort of curb our enthusiasm. Insert piano joke here. Da, 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 da. Okay. No. See, now that is exactly what I am talking about. I could have waited for the laser to have done 2 or 3 more passes, and I wouldn't have had to do that. And it's silly stuff like that that is going to get me killed and end the run. And I need to curb those tendencies now before we get to Mudanchi. Because if I'm still having moments like that when we get to Mudanchi, I will die. I will die, and I'm not in the mood for that nonsense.
Come on. Okay.
I would really like to make it to Disc 2 one of these days.
Come on. Okay.
I must again give a wonderful thank you to Emma in the comments, who has been commenting on my One Life runs and is hoping that I can find a better way to manage my time and handle the runs better. And I feel like especially I am catching myself up in a lot of my follies of, you know, wanting to rush a little bit. In fact, even here. Let's do that now. So then it's not something I have to worry about later on. Okay. Okay. There he is. Because I know there's a visible indication, but I can never tell properly.
Yeah. Come on. Okay. Yeah.
Oops.
Come on. Okay.
And a 1, 2, 3, 4. I will admit, I have considered doing more Oddworld themed silly parody, pun, reference, song Mudokons. But what is instead happening is that silly, ridiculous, pun, song Mudokons are just having ridiculous edits put on top of ones I've done before in the old Exoddus playthrough. Which is part of a contributor why I haven't uploaded the next singing montage yet, because 2013 was very chaotic. And at that point I had finished high school, I was a few years into uni, and my confidence with public speaking was starting to go through the roof. Which I think is honestly a good thing in the grand scheme of things. The sense of confidence that I have regained playing, doing YouTube stuff is insane. And I'm honestly kind of tempted to go back and redo even some of the good quality playthroughs that I feel I could have done better justice for. Although, based on what just popped into my head, this sleeve just needs to go up, right? Where was I going with that? More than anything, I think what I'm doing with like the Rayman Redemption playthrough at the moment, that's the kind of thing I like doing, is giving a game I've done before a new spin. And I know some people have already seen what's going to be happening for Zool in that regard. And honestly, depending on how some of the other playthroughs go, that might come up on YouTube soon. But I want to do extra content for Legacy of Kakarot first. And that means, of course, doing Kai 3, doing all of the Scouter videos, and then actually streaming some Kakarot. And a couple of other weird things as well. Yeah, the Redemption one has been really fun, even going back through to edit, because I recorded that... When did I record that? I recorded that... Just trying to think. Did I get all of them? Yeah. I started recording that in late May of last year. Going on into... June and July, so it ended up becoming a lockdown is approaching, I best find something to take my focus away from the bad things in the world kind of distraction thing, and it ended up just turning into a wonderful nostalgia trip. And some of the next couple of episodes are just, the smile on the outside and the smile on the inside. My old webcam really can't do justice for just how happy I was playing that game. But I hope it's coming across well in the videos, because I feel happy for past me playing that game. It's kind of sweet. And I always thought that Rayman Advance, like, it's a fine enough port of Rayman 1, but I always felt like I wanted to do a more definitive Rayman 1 playthrough, and even playing it the first time I was just like, well, I found the definitive version of Rayman 1, so that's definitely happening now. Especially, oh, you've been watching Caddy do it, yeah. I especially loved when Caddy got up to Mr. Sax and he's gone, this is the best game ever made because there's a saxophone with hands and feet. And when you talk to him, he goes like this. And I love the fact that, I love how excited he gets for that. Just go, this is one of my new favorite Caddy moments. Because I understand entirely. And like, Caddy has a music background as well, because he plays drums and bass and guitar and keyboard and goodness knows what else. But yeah, every time someone plays through Rayman Redemption, I get to physically see or hear their reactions. I can really sort of click with it. And that's why I've really loved for when I get to redo playthroughs for games I've done before. If there's a version of a game I've never played before that is considered the definitive way, or a new way of playing that game, it feels like the best way of doing it, because not only am I breathing a new, better playthrough of that game onto the channel, I'm also experiencing something new myself. Oh yeah, Picture City. Picture City. Picture City was always the point where the difficulty really changes for Rayman 1. So it's, I feel like Redemption not only keeps that sense of a difficulty shift intact, but also makes enough quality of life changes that the game doesn't feel like it's punishing you, and really fixes a lot of the things that in the original just felt like, here is a gauntlet of A, B, C, D, now you need to do X, Y, Z to avoid it. Especially the falling pencils. The way the falling pencils were improved, literally, you could implement that into the original Rayman 1, and that would immediately make it better. I'm not even joking. Implementing that on its own makes the experience of playing Rayman 1 more accessible. Because that's the thing is, I don't really know if Caves of Scops is necessarily easier or harder than Picture City, but for me personally, the shift doesn't feel like it's at the same level of brutal that Picture City can get to. And I feel like both worlds have been very well balanced out compared to their original counterparts in Redemption, and improved substantially. I forgot. You just reminded me how much better the improvements to Picture City were, because the things I keep thinking back to especially are the additions to Bandland that I really love, and the things in Blue Mountains that just made it so wonderful to go through again. But Picture City, some would argue it's more playable now. It's no longer, you know, the arcade-style difficulty, coin munching, use up all your continues, stopping point for most people. Yeah. Space Mama was always just a massive breaking point for a lot of people. If you could get to her, I remember Eraser Plains, second level, with lots of sliding and tons of pencils and bounce and bounce and bounce. That first time I played the PlayStation version, I used up half of my lives fighting Mr. Stone, and then the rest of them I all used up in the second level of Picture City. I never made it to Space Mama until I picked up the game again, specifically the PlayStation version, maybe 4 years ago, I think? Because I just got, nah, Rayman Advance will do me, I'm okay. And then I went back and I got, okay, it's not impossible, but it's still a bit ridiculous. Just a bit ridiculous. Okay. Speaking of ridiculous, turbo concentration time. Necrum being all scrungus. There is a scrungus among us. Tiptoe through the Necrum, trying not to die. And you're awake, and I'm through the door. Bye-bye. Now this nonsense. Not the pinnacle of nonsense, but it's pretty close. Blah. Stab it. This room. There. That methodical hopping and waiting and not second guessing where the other Fleech is. The second I started pacing it based around where each Fleech was, the rhythm of the timing suddenly became a whole lot less where is that Fleech going? Seriously, don't be that guy. Don't be that cheating little Worminator. Okay. I'm gonna be that guy. I mean, if you're going to volunteer, I can't be mad at you. It's all good. It's all good, Silver. Easy then. Okay. Now if I could... Could we not do... Could we keep the hopping in front of the wrong spot in front of the wells to an absolute minimum? Because... We need to iron that crease out completely by the time we get to Mudanshi, otherwise I'm going to cry. Boom, boom. Yep. And yep. And hop, go. Okay. Okay. And scene. And scene. Whew. That's the thing. No matter how many times I play this game, the presence of Fleeches, be it in a puzzle you know very easily, or in a nest, or even in an industrial area, it makes the heart start racing. It never fails to. I feel like based on how things start going, I have considered potentially maybe something I'll start doing is doing Mudanshi first. because Mudanchi seems to be the place that keeps getting me. So if I use the choice of Mudanchi and Mudomo as an opportunity to iron out the problems I'm having in Mudanchi, that could potentially give me more time to practice it. And it also means if I get it out of the way, I'm less likely to have trouble in Mudomo. Doesn't mean I won't have trouble in Mudomo, it just means the lesser of two evils is the thing stopping me from getting to Disc 2. And I feel like once I get to Disc 2, I'm going to be more comfortable to do that. But at the moment, I just... It's like growing pains, I think. It's probably the best analogy I can use is Mudomo is like... Now that's an even better analogy. Mudomo is like the stretch before a race, because there are familiar elements of spatial awareness and timing and careful jumps and sequences you need to go through, which is present in both temples, in both vaults. But the thing with Mudomo is that it paces you very carefully in a different way. And that's just innately because Paramites are more methodical in their puzzles, whereas Scrabs, there is a lot of urgency. There is a lot of urgency with Scrabs. Also, every time I find a way to do a trial easier in Mudomo, it's something that gives me less reason to rush. Which I can confidently say hasn't really happened with Mudanchi yet. I mean, there are a couple of aspects where I need to be more... I need to tread more carefully, but other than that, nothing else really changes the fact that when you and a scrub are in the same place, you've got to act quickly. What I need to stop doing is acting so quickly that I try and do 3 things in the space of 1 space-time. That nearly sounded like English. That was nearly sentence. Yeah. I need to fight the temptation to try and do 3 things in the span of 1 thing. Which I think was what I was trying to say. Don't quote me on that. Which is why doing Mudomo first is so important, because if I can't slow myself down by the end of Mudomo, well, then Mudanchi is going to be the undefeated hurdle. Hoppity-doo-dah. Hilariously, it is possible to die in this screen if you run jump from the top platform. All the more reason why going slowly is so important. Oh boy. That wasn't rushing. That wasn't rushing. That wasn't being careless. I promise. Okay, going here. I feel like every time I do Mudomo and Mudanchi, I just keep picking random one. I mean, I might as well. I might as well. I've got to do them all anyway. The order doesn't matter as much. And I do like changing it up a little bit. It was yuck. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There we go. The second I realized I could simplify the puzzle by doing this, things became so much easier. And it means the rest of this trial I can just stroll through and take my time with, and that's something I can definitely do with more of when playing the game in this way. Okay, just go for a nice little stroll. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Boop-boop-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Doop-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo-doo. Doop. Okay. Next is the one with the secret passage I definitely will not be doing. Nuts to your noise and nonsense. Okay then. Well, there went the Baramite. Not the way I expected, but still. He went. Okay. So that's 2. This is the one, this one, okay. Let's try and keep the fleeches at the top area this time. Honestly, just feels good to play Oddworld. Simple as it gets. Well, if you kill the fleeches, that'd be great. No, 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 no. Now some of them are going to go down. It's going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, none of them are going down. Good. Good, good, good. Good, good. Okay. No. We have a bit of a dilemma here. Wait, no, 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 no. Alright. I am in a position right now where I can't get the other lift. But I believe one of these ledges should be at a height where if I hoist down, I should be able to get down safely and still finish the trial. I think it'd have to be the right side because the left side's too narrow. Okay. I think the left side was also too narrow as well. Well, that's an interesting way to end the run. You know... Maybe I should have done Mudokons first. That's all I can think.